Flash, J. Garrick, vs. Whizzer, Golden Age Speedsters Duel. The video opens with electrifying animations of lightning bolts streaking across a dark background. Speed trails weave in and out, creating a sense of motion and excitement. A split screen emerges, showcasing J. Garrick, the original Flash, racing through a bustling cityscape, his metal helmet gleaming under the city lights. On the other side, the Whizzer speeds across rugged terrains, his yellow and blue costume vibrant against the backdrop. What's up, everybody? Ever sat around with your friends debating who the fastest hero is? Well, today we're throwing it back, way back, to the golden age of comics to settle a speedster showdown for the ages. It's DC's J. Garrick, the original Flash, versus Marvel's Whizzer. Place your bets and get comfy, 'cause this is gonna be a fun ride. The golden age of comics. Alright, before we dive headfirst into this epic clash, let's set the scene. The golden age of comics, think late 1930s to early 1950s, is where the superhero phenomenon truly kicked off. This was a time when the world was in a pretty rough spot, World War II was raging, and people were looking for hope, escapism, and heroes to look up to. Enter the comic book superheroes. Characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and of course, our speedsters, the Flash and the Whizzer, weren't just entertainment. They embodied the ideals of courage, justice, and hope. They were beacons in a time of darkness. It's kinda wild to think that these heroes, created decades ago, are still household names today. Talk about a legacy. J. Garrick, the original Flash. Now, let's zoom in on the man who started it all for DC's speedsters, J. Garrick. Picture this. It's 1940, and amidst the hustle and bustle of college life, a young student named J. Garrick is burning the midnight oil in the lab. He's experimenting with heavy water, because what else would you be doing on a Friday night, right? But then, in a twist that only comics can deliver, he accidentally inhales the vapors from his experiment. Next morning, bam, super speed. Created by the dynamic duo of Gardner Fox and Harry Lampert, Jay made his debut in Flash Comics #1. He was a trailblazer, the first character to use the moniker, The Flash. His powers weren't just about running fast, he had accelerated healing, could vibrate his molecules to become intangible, and even had some control over his body's aging. Plus, his helmet. Let's talk about that. Inspired by the Roman god Mercury, that winged helmet became an iconic part of his look. It's both stylish and practical. Well, maybe more stylish. Jay didn't just stick to solo adventures. He co-founded the Justice Society of America, the very first team of superheroes. Think of them as the grandparents of the Justice League. He teamed up with heroes like Hawkman, Green Lantern, the Alan Scott version, and Dr. Fate. Over the years, Jay faced off against a rogues gallery of villains. Think the Thinker, Shade, and the Fiddler. Yeah, names were kinda literal back then. His adventures weren't confined to his own Earth. In a groundbreaking move, DC introduced the concept of the multiverse with Flash of Two Worlds, where Jay met Barry Allen, his successor. This opened up endless possibilities and storylines that are still being explored today. Robert Frank, the Whizzer. Switching gears to Marvel. Well, timely comics back then. Let's talk about the Whizzer, aka Robert Frank. Now, Robert's origin story is unique, to say the least. In USA Comics #1 foot from 1941, during an expedition in Africa, Robert gets bitten by a cobra. Ouch. With no anti-venom in sight, his scientist father decides on a last-ditch effort, a mongoose blood transfusion. Amazingly, it works, not only curing him but granting him super speed. Created by Al Avison, the Whizzer donned a flashy yellow and blue costume, standing out in a lineup of heroes. His powers included super speed, enhanced agility, and reflexes, making him a formidable opponent to any villain daring enough to face him. Robert joined the all-winners squad, teaming up with heavy hitters like Captain America and the Human Torch, the original Android 1, not Johnny Storm. Together, they fought Axis powers during World War II, bringing hope and patriotism to readers back home. Despite not being as prominent in modern times, the Whizzer's impact is significant. He represents the early days of Marvel's heroic storytelling. Plus, his personal story adds layers, like discovering his son, Nuclo, a mutant with radioactive powers. The Whizzer also had interactions with other notable characters. In some storylines, he's connected to Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, and Pietro Maximoff, Quicksilver, although these ties vary. It's a web of relationships that showcases Marvel's interconnected universe. Head-to-head comparison. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. The face-off between Jay Garrick and the Whizzer. Let's see how they compare in different aspects. Jay Garrick's speed is no joke. With access to the Speed Force, a cosmic energy source that all DC speedsters tap into, Jay can reach speeds exceeding the speed of light. He's run so fast that he's broken the time barrier and traveled between dimensions. The Whizzer, meanwhile, is incredibly fast but operates on a more realistic level, if that's a term we can use here. He's been clocked at speeds around 100 miles per hour, which is amazing but not quite in the same league as Jay. His enhanced reflexes and agility make him a tough opponent. Combat skills. Jay's been in the hero game for decades. He's trained alongside some of the best fighters in the DC universe. While speed is his main asset, he's no stranger to a good old-fashioned brawl. The Whizzer, coming from a wartime background, has combat experience as well. He's fought Nazis, supervillains, and everything in between. His style is more direct, using his speed to deliver quick strikes and evade attacks. Jay has some impressive feats under his belt. He's helped save the multiverse, mentored young heroes, and even in his older age, remained a key player in major events. The Whizzer's feats are more grounded but still noteworthy. Weaknesses. Jay's connection to the Speed Force can sometimes be a double-edged sword. Disruptions to it can weaken his powers. Additionally, he's vulnerable to certain forms of radiation and frequencies that can impede his abilities. The Whizzer faces the realities of human limitations. Aging affects him more noticeably, and his powers don't grant him immunity from harm. His speed, while impressive, doesn't protect him from more powerful foes. Also, his powers can be taxing on his body, especially as he gets older. The hypothetical duel. Drumroll, please. It's time to imagine how a showdown between these two would unfold. Let's set this epic clash in a neutral dimension, a vast, open landscape that challenges both their abilities equally. At the starting line, both are raring to go. The Whizzer might make the first move, sprinting towards Jay with a burst of speed. Jay, with his seasoned experience, anticipates the move and sidesteps effortlessly, leaving a speed mirage to throw Robert off. The Whizzer recalibrates, using his agility to change direction swiftly, aiming a series of quick jabs. Jay, recognizing the Whizzer's determination, decides to up the ante. He accelerates, moving so fast that time seems to slow down around him. But let's say the Whizzer has a few tricks. Perhaps he uses the terrain to his advantage, kicking up dust or debris to obscure Jay's vision. The Whizzer might try to exploit any sign of overconfidence from Jay, landing a surprise attack. Jay's connection to the Speed Force gives him a sort of spidey sense, an intuition that something's coming. He could phase through the attack or even absorb the kinetic energy. As the duel intensifies, the Whizzer starts to tire. His speed isn't infinite, and the strain begins to show. Jay, with his enhanced stamina and access to the Speed Force, maintains his pace. This could be the turning point where Jay offers a hand, recognizing the valiant effort of his opponent. In the end, sheer speed and versatility give Jay Garrick the upper hand. While the Whizzer's no pushover, Jay's powers are on another level. But hey, in comic books, anything can happen. Maybe they'd realize they have more in common and team up against a bigger threat. Impact and legacy. Putting the hypothetical brawl aside, let's appreciate what these characters have contributed to the world of comics. Jay Garrick is more than just a speedster. He's a symbol of the enduring spirit of heroism. He represents legacy, passing on wisdom to the next generation of heroes. The Whizzer, while perhaps not as prominent today, is a testament to Marvel's rich history. He showcases the storytelling of the time, heroes born from extraordinary circumstances. His inclusion in storylines adds depth to Marvel's universe. Inspirations for future characters. Jay's influence is undeniable. The concept of the Speed Force and the exploration of speedster lore owe a lot to Jay's foundation. The Whizzer paved the way for characters like Quicksilver, Marvel's most famous speedster. The themes of legacy and family ties seen in the Whizzer's stories can also be found in many modern characters. Jay Garrick has been reintroduced multiple times, sometimes with updated backstories or in alternate realities. The Whizzer has had nods in modern media too. Marvel's Jessica Jones series included a character inspired by him, complete with super speed and a yellow tracksuit. Conclusion. Phew, that was quite the sprint through comic book history. We delved into the origins of two iconic speedsters, Garrick, the trailblazing Flash of DC Comics, and Robert Frank, the Whizzer from Marvel's early days. We compared their powers, abilities, and contributions, and even imagined how an epic duel might play out between them. At the end of the day, both characters hold a special place in comic lore. They reflect the hopes and values of the times they were created in and have influenced countless stories and characters since. Speedsters capture our imagination because they embody the idea of pushing beyond limits, of breaking barriers, literally and figuratively. Whether it's racing against time to save the day or overcoming personal obstacles, these characters inspire us to keep moving forward. But enough from me. I want to hear from you. Are you Team Garrick or Team Whizzer? Do you have a favorite storyline or moment featuring either of them? Maybe you've got your own theories on how their showdown would go. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation rolling faster than the speed of sound. Call to action. Thanks so much for sticking around and geeking out with me today. If you enjoyed this video and want to join me on more adventures through the comic universe, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. I'm always dropping new content, whether it's versus matchups, deep dives into comic history, or reviews of the latest superhero flicks. I'm also hanging out on social media, so follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Speedster Central for behind-the-scenes peeks, updates, and maybe the occasional meme or two. Got ideas for future videos? Topics you're dying to see covered? Drop them in the comments or shoot me a message. I love hearing your suggestions and building this community together. Before we sign off, big shout out to all of you for being the awesome, passionate fans that make discussions like this possible. Until next time, stay curious, stay awesome, and keep that superhero spirit alive. Catch you later.